Hi, hello everyone. My name is Heidi and I have a program here for brand new backpackers who don't know much anything about backpacking. We're going to be talking about some of the gear that you need for backpacking, how to pack it into your pack, and also how to choose between different types of gear. We'll touch on that briefly. So I'm going to start with going over the backpack itself. There are a wide variety of backpacks out there. Really the best way to choose the backpack that's best for you is to go and try a whole bunch of backpacks on and put some weight in them and carry them around in the store and just see what feels the best, because something's going to feel best for each different person. This backpack has some modifications on it, like a pouch in the front to carry gear right up here. It has the waist belt, which is very nice. It has straps so you can tighten it down. It has pouches in lots of other places. So it has this top pouch, which is good for things like first aid supplies that you need to have immediately available. And it has other pouches on the outside here. And then the big pouch in here where most of your large gear will go. There's also access to that here on the bottom. You can access the bottom part of your gear from here on the bottom. And then it has a little baby pouch in here for a wet weather cover. And we'll talk about that when we talk about adverse weather conditions. To go along with your pack, you always want to have possibly a couple of stuff sacks. If they can be waterproof, that's good, because you never know what the weather's going to be like when you're on the trail. A couple different sizes, different colors, so you can help remember where all your gear is a good idea. There's a nice variety right here. Many people like to hike with some sort of walking stick. These come in a lot of different varieties. Some people like to hike with one. Some people like to hike with two. Most of them are adjustable, as you can see here. So you can adjust it to go with your height. And again, the best way to find out what works best for you, maybe to find someone who knows about backpacking and has one that you can try. Try them out, see what feels best. One, two, or none. They are very good for when you're going up and down mountains. They really give you a lot more stability because the pack can throw off your own balance. So, I'm going to move on to bad weather gear here. You never know what the weather is going to be like when you're on the trail. So you always want to prepare for more than you might actually encounter. So you want to have wet weather gear. Some sort of wet weather pants is a good idea. These are a brand called Frog Togs that is good, but you don't have to go with a specific brand. Some people like a wet weather top, other people like a poncho, something to cover you up to keep you dry. You'll stay a lot warmer and more comfortable if you're dry. A nice, simple way to line the inside of your backpack to keep all of your gear mainly dry is just to put a garbage bag into the inside of your backpack. Just fill it up with all your gear like you would pack your normal backpack, and then just close the top of it before you close the top of your backpack, and your gear will stay mainly dry. That's good. It's good to have waterproof stuff sacks and everything, but this is another good layer to have in there. Even if it's warm and you don't anticipate it being cold at all, something like these chemical hot hands hand warmers are a good idea. If you get wet, you're going to get cold, and these can help to keep your hands and your feet from getting too cold and from getting too uncomfortable. No matter where you're going, you can pretty much depend on insects being a problem. So you want to have some sort of insect repellent with you. DEET, of course, is kind of the gold standard for using on your body. This is 100% DEET. You have to be careful with it. It's very strong. It can have a burning sensation on your skin, so you want to put it on, not put too much on, but put enough on to prevent mosquitoes and ticks and everything from getting on you. Another good idea is to spray all of your gear in what's called permethrin prior to going on your trip. About a week before, go ahead and spray all of your things liberally with permethrin, including the clothes that you wear, and that will help to keep the mosquitoes away from your sleeping environment and to keep them away from your clothes. You don't want to use permethrin on your skin, though. That's not okay. Always good to have a headlamp. You never know when you might need to hike at night, or when you might need to get out of your tent to go to the bathroom, or if there might be an emergency. You always want to have some source of light that's, you can just put it on your head, you can have both hands free. So moving on to your water solution, hydration is extremely important when you're exerting yourself on the trail. You're going to be working really, really hard. You will not feel thirsty, but you have to keep drinking, so you want to make sure that whatever water solution you have is one that you're really comfortable with. Some people like to carry a bladder like what's used in a Camelback or a Nathan pack. Some people feel that using a water bottle really helps them to judge their water intake better. It's really up to the hiker. Some people like to do both at the same time. You just have to decide what works better for you. Do you like to have to carry a hard bottle? Do you really like being able to see how much you're drinking, or would you rather just have it on your back, in your backpack, and be able to drink as you need to? You always want to make sure when you're on the trail that you have some way to purify and clean your water, because you don't know if you might need water and be very far away from civilization, so to speak. So you want to have water purification tablets. It will tell you on the packaging how these are to be used. You also want to have a water filter, one that you can pump water into whatever reservoir you are choosing to use. That'll help to get out most of the impurities. If you really feel nervous, you can use both of them at the same time. For emergency situations, or when you just need a little sip of water, something like this life straw is a very good idea. All you have to do is take off both ends, put this end in the water, and you just sip right out of this end. It's very simple. They've proven to be very effective, and even if you already have another water solution all figured out and available, then it's still good to have this in reserve, just in case. So, you have your water, you also need your food. It's hard sometimes to eat when you're on the trail. You're exerting yourself so much, it just really decreases your appetite, but you need to make sure that you have some kind of food that you enjoy eating. There are lots of freeze-dried options out there, such as these. These make 2 servings, although it's important to remember that if you're really working hard, 2 servings on a package might be 1 serving for you. So these are a good solution, especially for shorter trips. They do generate a lot of garbage. So if you're going on a really long trip, you might want to think about a solution that involves replenishing more fresh ingredients sometime and really keeping your garbage to a minimum, because if you take it in, you have to take it out with you, and that's just more you have to carry. You want to make sure that you bring snacks that you enjoy. You're going to get hungry in between eating meals, and if you have snacks that you enjoy that you can keep, some backpacks have pouches on the waist belt, or if you decide to modify your pack and put a pouch right at your chest, you can just keep snacks right in there and munch as you walk on the trail. In order to make any of these, you need to heat up water, so you need to decide what your cooking solution is going to be. There are a lot of stove options out there, some of which use different fuels. Some you can use just natural stuff you find around. Okay, so you've been on your backpacking trip all day, you're tired, so you need to have some kind of sleeping solution. There are a lot of tents out there that are really great for backpacking. You need to figure out which one works best for you. Some of them are lighter, some of them are a little bit heavier, but they have a few more features. This one is nice because it is waterproof, so it doesn't have the big rain fly that has to go over it to repel the water. The tent itself is waterproof, so that eliminates one piece that you would need for it. That being said, you still want to make sure that you have some sort of tarp or footprint for your tent to go on the ground, because that moisture will at least be very cold on the ground and will make you colder. So make sure that you have some kind of tarp. There are a lot of them out there that vary in price and weight, so just gotta weigh whether you really want to carry something heavier, or if you want to pay a little bit less and get something really light, but really waterproof. You want to make sure you have some sort of sleeping pad. That will make things a lot more comfortable for you. A pillow is always a good idea, but that's less of a necessity and more of just a comfort item. You can certainly use some of your other gear as a pillow if you don't want to carry this as extra. And then, of course, your sleeping bag. There are many different kinds of sleeping bags out there, from very lightweight ones that are great for summertime to very, very, very warm ones that will keep you warm even if you want to backpack in the winter time. So again, it's just going to be price and what you're looking for in a sleeping bag. Now, a tent is not your only sleeping solution. You could also use a hammock. Hammocks are obviously very light. They're pretty much just for one person, but they're a great solution if you're going somewhere you know there will be lots of mature trees and you don't want to carry this whole big tent. You want to make sure that you have a mosquito net for your hammock, because even if you think there are not bugs that will bite you, there probably are. And you need to make sure that you have some kind of rain cover to go over your hammock, because there's nothing over top of it otherwise, and rain will just come right down onto you. Really quick, I want to touch on what you need to do as far as packing your backpack goes. Obviously, all of this somehow has to go into that and be carried on your back. Often your tent can go on the bottom here. Pretty much all backpacks have some kind of strapping, so your tent can go here on the front. One of the things that you really want to consider when you're packing a backpack is the weight of items. You want to make sure that you have heavier items close to your body and low. That will make you a lot more stable. It will help to keep your center of balance where it should and make your walking a lot more certain. And it will also make the pack more comfortable to carry. Another consideration that you want to think about when you are packing your backpack is what kind of gear might you want to get to quickly or need to get to quickly. So first aid gear, you always want to have very available. Again, this top pouch right here is a great choice for first aid gear. It's right there. It's easy to open. You can get to it right away. You want to make sure you have any medication that you need, very accessible. Your water solution needs to be very accessible. Snacks need to be very accessible. Things that you could probably pack deeper, your sleeping bag and that gear can be packed a little bit deeper because you're not going to need that until you actually stop. And you can pack extra food deeper. Just make sure that you have a little bit that you can immediately get to. And if you have any extra clothes, you can pack those a little bit deeper too. So that is about all that I have for you today. Thank you very much.